გამარჯობა მეგობრებო, კიდევ ერთხელ დიდი მადლობა რომ შემოგვიერთდით. So thanks again. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going through another article translation, and in this, one of my friends and fellow viewer had some good feedback on kind of how I go through these articles. And so one of the things he talked about was kind of going through and focusing first on the meaning of the article, and then diving in to maybe grammar, so separating out the two. So what I'll do here is I'll kind of read through, and it's very short, it's only a few sentences that you can see. I'll read through the article, you can see the meaning here that I wrote out, and then we'll kind of dive in kind of a little bit, maybe word by word in the meaning, and then I'll point out some grammar stuff as well. So let's go ahead and try that, and you can leave some feedback on whether it's more helpful or not. So starting out, shucks, I don't even have the title of the video. The title is იმედი გვაქვს, რომ ანაკლის სპორტის პროექტი განხორციელდება განსაკუთრებით ამერიკული ინვესტით, Elizabeth Rudy. So essentially it's just a quote from the article. All right. გაურკვევლობას ანაკლის სპორტის ირგვლივ ამერიკის შეერთებული შტატების ელჩის მოვალეობის შემსრულებელი კიდევ ერთხელ გამოეხმაურა. როგორც ელიზაბეთ რუდი აცხადებს, ანაკლის სპორტი ძალიან მნიშვნელოვანი პროექტია საქართველოსთვის. შეერთებულ შტატებს იმედი გვაქვს, რომ ის წარმატებით განხორციელდება განსაკუთრებით ამერიკული ინვესტით, ამბობს რუდი. So, yeah, this is kind of an interesting article, one that stuck out to me because I actually got to meet Elizabeth Rood, who is the Charge d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy in Georgia. Her Georgian is actually amazing. It's kind of a side note, but anyway, yeah. So starting with the first word, Gaurqueblova is uncertainty. Anaklia is a port city on the western side of Georgia. Well, I guess you can read through here. Maybe I won't go through every word. That might take a little while. It's kind of unnecessary. But one thing to point out is that I did try to put a definition to every word so that you can kind of link up, okay, each word means this. And then I also pointed out in red here kind of what I thought was a little bit more important and more common. So for instance, you'll see that America, or USA, so Amerikis, America, Sheretebuli, that's united, Shtatebi, that's states. So some other things to point out, like Shtati is singular, but Shtatebi is plural, it's that EBI ending. And here, America is America, but because it's possessive, it's Amerikis, so America's United States. Კიდევ ერთხელ, this is a pretty common one that I hear people use. Atzchadebs, I think this is a little bit more formal language, but I see it often in articles that I read. Nishvelovani, important, that's a common word, it's a good one. Proekti, that's pretty easy. Sakartvelo, Georgia. Imedi Guaux, so we hope. So you could say something like Imedi Maux, I hope. Imedi Gaux, you hope. Tsarmateba, success. A common phrase, I'll add it here, that you hear Georgians say, it's Tsarmatebebi. They'll just say like, good luck to you, or yeah, that's pretty common. Okay, let's dive into a little bit of grammar. So starting with the first word, Gaurquevlovas. Now, why does it have an extra S on the ending here? That's because it's in dative. And why is it in dative? Well, it took me a little while to think about it, but so the reason is because this verb here, to respond to, so Elizabeth is responding to the uncertainty around Anaklia, the Anaklia port, or the uncertainty surrounding Anaklia's port. So this verb here is it's that you have that that first category of verbs, which is the gosh, I'm blanking on it now. It's the transitive, and then this is like an intransitive verb. And the way that I know that is because this gamo is a preverb, and then you have this extra a here, and that to me signals that it's likely a intransitive verb. And so when you have an indirect object with an intransitive verb, that intransitive verb goes into dative case. So that's a little bit advanced, but I think for those of you who are getting more in depth into the verbs, that's something you'll have to start picking up on. So Anaklis, so Anaklia is the port city, but again, this is in possessive because it's saying that it's talking about the port of Anaklia. And when you have this word irgliv, surrounding, the word prior to it has to also go into possessive. So porti is port, but portis is possessive. So again, we have America's states, Elchis. So Elchi, I don't think I mentioned that in there, but Elchi is the ambassador. And again, it's possessive because it's describing this person. So Movaleoba, I marked it here, is assignment. And Shemsrulebeli, it's executor, or the person who is executing or completing something. Now, what I wanted to point out here is that it's a mixture, or it's a pattern. So it comes from the word shesruleba, which is to complete or to do something. I'd say probably complete is more accurate. And it's this pattern where you are putting a m after the preverb of she, so you get shem, and then it ends in an eli ending. So that to me, just looking at that pattern, I already see m and I see eli, and I think, oh, that's a person doing something, and in this case, it's the person who's completing something. So it literally would probably translate to the person executing the assignment of the ambassador, and in this case, it's the title of charge d'affaires. So kidevertel, once again. Kidev is like more or again, I guess, and then ertel is once. So, and again, we said gamoich maura is, like I said, I didn't specify it here, it's to respond. I would imagine, I'm not 100% sure, but if you said something like gamoch maura, I'm not sure, it might be that they just responded. But because you put the a in there, it's like they responded to something, which in this case is the uncertainty around Anaklia's port. And if you aren't familiar, just a little bit of context, as I understand, I think there was a lot of investment going into this port. It was a big project, and then I think some of the partners and investments maybe fell through, so they're uncertain as to whether it would continue or be completed. And I guess the Elizabeth is now saying that, you know, hopefully it'll happen. So continuing on, Rogorts. Rogorts is like as or like, but note that I think this is, gosh, what type of part of speech is it? It's not sure, but it's you could translate this to as or like, as Elizabeth announced. So again, this is something I see commonly in news articles. Anaklis porti, we talked about that. Zalian Minshvinelovani Proektia, so it's a very important project. Soccer Fellows Tvis. So again, this Tvis, this is something I wanted to point out, so which means for, so for Georgia. It's a very common ending that you'll see and something you should memorize. It's one of those that it's very common, so know it. Alright, continuing on. Schertebo Stadtebsi Mediguaux. So here you might notice that this also is a s at the end. Schertebulu Stadtebi. Schertebuli Stadtebi. But in this case, there's no e here, and it ends in a s. So it's a dative case, and why is that? Because guaux, or we have something, we the subject goes into dative. So saying that we, the United States. Rome, that, that. Is, it. Tsarmatebit. So tsarmateba is success, but why does it have this it? I guess that it ending is like with, so with success. Gankhortsielbeba, gansaktrevit. I guess this would come from the word gansakutreba, and again, it's that. So this is called instrumental case. It's that it ending. So again, that it ending. But I wouldn't necessarily translate this like with, especially or something, or I guess you could say especially with American investment. So I guess that would make sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse you there. Anyway, so Americuli, American, investitia is investment. And again, wow, that's a lot of instrumental cases there. So investit with investment. Ambos Rudi, says Rude. Alright, so we got through that whole article, which is essentially just 3 sentences, but covered the meaning, covered some of the individual words, some of the more common words and grammar things, as well as kind of just a lot of the grammar in the article. So hope that was helpful, and I'll try to get out some articles. I've been pretty busy lately, and yeah, we reached 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. But yeah, thanks for watching, and give me some feedback if there's anything, any way you think this could have improved. So, all right, Dorovit.